ladies and gentlemen, we will start the discussion. Okay. Hello. Good morning, everyone. And selamat pagi. And assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Okay. Thank you for being here, honorable all the speakers and honorable all the audience in this beautiful morning. We will hold an international dialogue. So this is very fruitful. It will be very fruitful discussion and dialogue between Christian and Muslim. And here we will. Let me introduce myself. I'm Abdul Rahman Sharani, and I'm currently a lecturer at Sunan Kalijaga State Islamic University, and I will be moderating this international Christian-Muslim dialogue. Okay, so today's discussion is.
Bahasa Inggris semua.
Okay. So this discussion is using English as its main language, right? But you can also ask a question in Indonesia, I think. Okay. So today's topic is very interesting to discuss. It's about the Gospel of Barnabas, or Injil Barnabas in Indonesia, and it's very important and it's very interesting, yet polemical, I think, between Muslim and also Christian. But we will share our understanding, our perspective on this issue. So today we will have our speaker here, two experts. The first is Mr. Marcus Chua from CRIT Graduate Christian Fellowship Singapore. And the second speaker is Dr. Ungaran Rashid. He is from International Islamic University, Malaysia. I think both are trained not only in a Christian theology, but also in comparative studies or religious studies. So I think this discussion, it will be interesting discussion. Just for your information, this discussion is held between collaboration between Christian Emmanuel University and also Sunan Kalijaga State Islamic University. I think without further ado, we will have, I think, an hour and a half time for discussion. I think it will be 40 minutes for presentation and also 40 minutes for question and answer. So each of you have each of you has 20 minutes, I think, for presentation.
Sorry, brother. It's 30 minutes each.
Oh, 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have 30 minutes. Each of you has 30 minutes for presentation. Okay. For the first, I will invite Mr. Marcus Chua to present.
The first presentation should be Dr. Ungaran.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. The first presentation will be delivered by Dr. Ungaran Rashid. Without further ado, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Salam, shalom, and very good morning for all of you. Greeting from Kuala Lumpur here. Quite hot in Kuala Lumpur now. I will share a PowerPoint for you. but brother Anjo, I cannot share. Only the host can share in this meeting.
Okay, I think now it's okay. Sorry.
Okay. Screen. Wait. What's wrong? Screen. What? Oh. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet.
Oh, what's wrong? Not yet.
Yeah.
I cannot share. What's wrong with?
Well, what's the? I mean,
I have to share screen, right?
yeah.
But nothing.
Oh yeah, coming.
Yeah. Which one?
Screen of broadcast. What is broadcast? Oh, you.
Sorry.
This one is screen broadcast.
Yeah.
Screen, share
I
screen.
don't have other choice. Only broadcast and photo.
Share
Wait.
screen is the green button below, right?
Yeah. Wait, maybe this one.
Yeah.
Can you see this? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay. But then how to? Okay. Okay. Talk about the Gospel of Barnabas. That is very interesting. This is my first time sharing about the Gospel of Barnabas because I'm not really interested in the Gospel of Barnabas. Why I'm not interested? Because even Muslim scholars, actually, many of Muslim scholars say that Gospel of Barnabas is not the true gospel. So I read the Gospel of Barnabas, but yeah, why do I have to focus on the Gospel of Barnabas if there are other Gospels that are in canonical Bible? I'm interested on learning canonical Gospel from the Bible, but it's okay. I read the Gospel of Barnabas, and many Muslims, even most of Muslims, like the Gospel of Barnabas. Why? Because the Gospel of Barnabas talk about Prophet Muhammad, right? The coming of Prophet Muhammad, and then some stories about in Islamic tradition, like for example, Adam's apple. Our Adam's apple It is not mentioned in the Quran. It is not mentioned in the Hadith, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not an expert in Hadith, so I tried to find, but there's no story in the Hadith about Adam's apple. What we can find Adam's apple is in the Gospel of Barnabas. So this is interesting. And many Muslims claim that this is the true gospel. But yeah, I mean, even some Muslim scholars, famous Muslim scholars like Rashid Rida, for example, Egyptian Muslim scholars, encourage Christian to read and to compare with the canonical Bible. And some others, Muslim scholars, of course, modern Muslim scholars, will say this is the true gospel, because talk about Prophet Muhammad, especially talk about Prophet Muhammad. One of my colleagues in the university, I'm a lecturer in the International Islamic University of Malaysia, say you don't have to believe the Bible, except the Bible that mention Prophet Muhammad in it. So because maybe this professor doesn't know and also never read the Gospel of Barnabas and never read other Gospels or Bible. Then I will start about the Gospel of Barnabas with an anecdote of the history of the Gospel of Barnabas. It is mentioned that the story started when a monk in Italy named what is his name? I forget. One monk met a pope. Okay, then the Pope accepted him in his bedroom. Okay, then they quarrel. Then finally the Pope was asleep. Then the monk, Pramarino, the name of the monk, took one of Bible or Gospel from the drawer of the Pope, and the monk believes that this Bible is one of the 39 prohibited letters that shouldn't be read by Christian in the past. So the monk then spread this gospel and translated into Spanish. Oh, sorry. Later on, Mustafa Al-Arandi translated the gospel into Spanish from Italian. It is interesting for me about the anecdote, about the story. Is it possible the Pope accepted a guest in his bedroom? Right? It seems to me that quite impossible. You can imagine a Pope now. The Pope is like the head of a country of Vatican. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, the Pope has some bodyguards, right? And he will not accept a guest in his bedroom. Of course, in his office or somewhere else, not in his bedrooms. So it seems that the anecdote of the story, the beginning story of the Bible of Barnabas doesn't make sense for me, at least for me. I don't know for others. Okay, and then okay, next I want to show you the outline of the Gospel of Barnabas. I have the translation of the Gospel of Barnabas because Brother Anjo shared to me something. Then I saw this the book of Barnabas translated on by Densley and Laura Ray. That's what I have also. So from the outline of the Gospel of Barnabas, you can see here Barnabas mentioned or introduced who is Barnabas in the New Testament, the life and message of Barnabas, new doctrine of Paul, survival of monotheist Christianity, Arius and Arianism, Trinity approved as official doctrine of empire, monotheism declared, and so on. Then a letter about Jesus Christ in the Bible and Trinity, belief manifest, and then the story about the Gospel of Barnabas itself consists about 222 chapters. Okay, then Bible said about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, influence of Islam on Christian and the West. Okay. Okay, I want to explain a little bit about the Gospel of Barnabas, especially in the beginning or introduction of Barnabas. Barnabas, oh sorry. The beginning of the Gospel of Barnabas, the author explained about Barnabas, the one of disciples of Jesus, peace be upon him. But according to canonic Bible, Barnabas is not of the 12 disciples, right? If I'm not mistaken, please correct me. Barnabas is the later follower of Jesus who worked with Paul. If we see the book of Acts, who works with Paul, he is the uncle of Mark, John Mark, who wrote the book of Mark, the Gospel of Mark. This explanation, in my opinion, is to encourage the readers that the Gospel of Barnabas is written by Barnabas, the early follower of Jesus, peace be upon him. But it seems if the author is Barnabas, the companion of Paul, of course the gospel should be written either in Greek or in Aramaic, right? Like for example, Epistle of Barnabas, which is not considered as canon, but considered as pseudegraphia. It was written in Greek, but the Gospel of Barnabas, as far as I know, it is written only in Italy. If we try to trace, there's no earlier Gospel of Barnabas earlier than 15th century's Gospel or writing. Okay? No one can trace the original except the writing of Italian writing, and then later on translated into Spanish, okay, by Mustafa Al-Arandi. Okay, I have only 30 minutes. Then I want to mention here, not too many that I will mention about manuscript. As I mentioned just now, there's no earlier manuscript than 15th century's writing. Yeah. And the writing is in Italy. So if it is true the author is Barnabas, it should be in Greek, Aramaic, or at least Latin, because Italy, the Italian language, came later, about hundred of years later, because Latin, then Latin became the root of Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, right, and France. But Italian came later, about hundred of years later. So it seems that the Gospel of Barnabas is not written by Barnabas of early Christian or early follower of Jesus. Okay. So I already covered two topics, manuscript and authorship. Then after I read the Gospel of Barnabas, I saw some issues about the contents. The first issues that I highlight is the messiahship of Jesus. In the chapter 82, the Gospel of Barnabas, it is stated, Jesus says, "I'm indeed sent to the house of Israel as prophet of salvation, but after me shall come the Messiah, Son of God, to all the world, for whom God has made the world." And then, yes, and so on. In the Gospel of Barnabas, the messiahship of Jesus is denied, okay, which is contradicted with Quran and other canonic gospels, because in other canonic gospel it is mentioned, like the book of Mark, for example. It is stated that Jesus is the Son of God, is the Christ. And also Quran, Al-Imran, verse 45, Isa, even Maryam, is called Messiah, Al-Masih, or Messias. So the Gospel of Barnabas denied the messiahship of Isa, or Jesus, which means the Gospel of Barnabas is not in accordance with Quran, and also is not accordance with the canonic Gospel. Okay, that is the first thing that I highlight, because this is important. In my opinion, Messiah is the one who is waited for by Jewish people. So the concept of Messiah is very important for Jewish people. And we know, maybe most of us know, that the early follower of Jesus were Jewish people, right? So the term Messiah is very important also for the follower of Jesus, because they were also Jewish people. But here, in the Gospel of Barnabas, the messiahship of Jesus is denied. So this is the one of important thing in my opinion. And the Gospel of Barnabas, also in chapter 3, it is mentioned about the birth of Jesus. Okay. I don't know why this is very shiny. Okay. I will read the Gospel of Barnabas, chapter 3. The virgin was surrounded by the light exceeding bright and brought forth her son without pain. Okay, without pain, whom she took in her arms and wrapping him in swaddling clothes, laid him in the manger because there was no room in the inn. Okay, then I want to compare with Surah Maryam, verse 23. Then the pains of labor drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried, "Alas, I wish I had died before this, and was a thing long forgotten," which means the Gospel of Barnabas contradicts with the story of the birth of Jesus according to Quran, Surah Maryam, verse 23. One says that the birth of Jesus was painful for Maryam, but the Gospel of Barnabas says there's no pain. And this story or this statement, it seems, follow the folk tale or folklore among Catholic in the 5th and 6th century, that the Virgin was surrounded by a light exceeding bright and broad for her son without pain. That was a folklore among Catholic in the 4th and 5th century, and maybe later on, still in the Middle Age, also this folklore was still popular. Okay, and then that is the second, and then the third, in the Gospel of Barnabas, chapter 33, it is stated, "I tell you that you are the first man whom I have created." This is a conversation between God and Adam. "And he whom you have seen mentioned is your son, who shall come into the world many years hence, and shall be my messenger." This is talk about Prophet Muhammad, "for whom I have created all things, and shall give light to the world when he shall come, whose soul was set in the celestial splendor," and so on. In Christianity, maybe, of course, all the Christians know about this, I think. But if there are Muslims here, I want to explain that the concept about the concept of logos, the creation all of things by God through the logos. That is the explanation of the New Testament. In Islamic tradition, there's a similar concept about logos, which is Nur Muhammad, which is popular in Shiite theology, not in Sunni theology. Maybe some of Sunni scholars mention about this, but this is very popular in Shiite theology, that Prophet Muhammad, the being or spiritual being of Prophet Muhammad actually created, or as the first creation, similar to the concept of Arius in Christianity, that Logos was the first creation of God. Okay, and through Logos, everything was created. So in theology, it is called Nur Muhammad. So Prophet Muhammad, as a human, was born in the 6th century, right? But the spirit of Prophet Muhammad is the first creation of God, and it's called Nur Muhammad. It seems to me that the gospel of Barnabas is influenced by the concept of Nur Muhammad, or influenced by Shiite theology. Okay, that is the fourth. And then the fifth, in chapter 82, it is stated that the Jubilee comes every 100 of years, every 100 years. It is quite weird because in the book of Leviticus, for the people of Israel, Jubilee is Jubilee comes every 50 years. Okay, so this is also influenced by Catholicism in the Middle Age, that the Pope, I forget which Pope, decided that Jubilee will come every 100 years. So the book of the Gospel of Barnabas, in my opinion, the author of the Gospel of Barnabas tried to reconcile the Gospel with Islamic theology or Islamic tradition about Prophet Muhammad, about many things. But in the same times, it contradicts with some verses in the Quran, and of course contradicts with the canonical gospel. Okay, in Islamic tradition, finally, the book of the Gospel of Barnabas is considered as not the canonic gospel believed by the Christian. It is mentioned in the Islamic Encyclopedia published in 1965, that Muslim scholars believe this gospel was written in the modern world, at least in the 16th or 15th to 18th centuries. Okay, and the Gospel of Barnabas is not the canon of Christian gospel. And then finally, the Gospel of Barnabas was withdrew from the markets by the Muslims. Of course, the Christian will agree about that, but was withdrew by Muslims from the market. Okay, so to conclude, in my opinion, the Gospel of Barnabas is the Gospel of Barnabas is not written first. It's not written by Barnabas, the companion of Paul. The second, the Gospel of Barnabas is not the manuscript of the Gospel of Barnabas was not written in the early of Christian community, and the Gospel of Barnabas is trying to reconcile as close as possible with Islamic tradition, even though it is so many of the contents of the Gospel of Barnabas contradict with Quran. So I think that is my opinion of the Gospel of Barnabas. Of course, my opinion of the Gospel of Barnabas maybe will not approved by many Muslim scholars, but I have to be objective as a researcher and also lecturer in Islamic institution. I have to be objective with the research issue. Okay, that this gospel, the Gospel of Barnabas, is not in line with the canonic gospel, which were written in the early of the community of the Christian. I think that's all I can share with you. Thank you so much. If you have some input or question, maybe later we can discuss. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Umaran for the presentation. He has addressed the question of historicity and also the authenticity of the Gospel of Barnabas. It's very interesting to see how it's discussed and seen also by Muslim scholar, as it also contains some, as he explained, reconciliation between the, Christian theology and also Islamic tradition. Okay, the next presentation will be presented by Mr. Marcos. So I will invite Mr. Marcos to present his ideas. I think it's very interesting to see how the Christian see this gospel. Okay, the time is yours.
Can you see my slide?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, good. Can
It's better if you display.
Oh, okay. Is it display?
No, not yet.
Oh. Okay, can you see?
Okay.
Yes, good.
Good, okay. I'm going to start, huh?
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Angguran for his very honest presentation. This Gospel of Barnabas I read 40 years ago. And that time I was a very young Christian. I was very disturbed by this Gospel. So I went into research. I would like to share with you my findings from this after the 40 years research. Okay, just to let you know, I am glad that the speaker did a very honest job. He says that the gospel of the just because the gospel of Barnabas doesn't mean that it is gospel is Barnabas itself. And we have studied the Acts of Apostle, the Bible, and this Barnabas is definitely different from the Barnabas that you see in this book. Yeah. The next one is that our brother talked about the epistle of Barnabas. He did a good study, and he noticed that there's a great difference between the epistle of Barnabas and the present Barnabas. Yeah. Epistle of Barnabas is a 2nd century document. And then this is what happened is that there are people like there's some books written many years ago that claim that the grave of Barnabas, they dig archaeologically, they dig, and they found the Gospel of Barnabas on it. But actually, it's not true. It is actually the Gospel of Matthew. So it cannot be the 5th century, 4th or 5th century. And then we have another book called, these are all rejected books, Acts of Barnabas, also the 5th century. And this book says that, believe that Christianity is Trinitarian, yeah. And this is opposed to Gospel of Barnabas, so it cannot be the same person. And here we have an interesting point, is that we have a Pope who condemned in the 6th century a list of names of those rejected writings that are not acceptable. Yeah. And we also, even our brother says that this Gospel of Barnabas at times is against the Quran. So I know that because of this, we cannot accept this as so just to intro to all of you here, that there are actually more than 4 Gospels in history. In history, in the 1st century, there's only 4 Gospels. As far as my research goes, there are only 4 Gospels. And after that, the 2nd century and the 3rd, 4th, 5th century, and even until today, we have people adding to the false Gospels. So for your information, all these 56 Gospels are still available today. I have all the Gospel in my hand today, and I studied them, and every one of them, I understand why they wrote in certain ways, yeah, and why are they rejected, yeah. So this will be another topic, but I just want to preempt you that if you talk about Gospel of Barnabas, it's only one of the small things, but there are actually many Gospels. But we Christians understood these 4 Gospels very well, because why? We know that there are a lot of false Gospels. That doesn't mean that we throw away like US notes, for example. There are a lot of counterfeits. But we are not going to throw away the US dollar or the Malaysian dollar or even Singapore dollar. There are counterfeits floating around in Singapore also, but we won't throw away the good money. In fact, we treasure the good money more than the counterfeits. Just because there are false gospels doesn't mean that the gospel is wrong. Okay, and this is Irenaeus in the 2nd century. He talked about the 4 gospel, like 4 zones of earth, four principal winds and four pillars. Yeah, and here just like the four corners of the earth, doesn't mean that just because there are four corners, it must be false. Yeah, the Irenaeus says that the gospel could not possibly be either more or less than in numbers than they are the gospel. Yeah, it's the only four gospels only. But the heretics got a lot. And in fact, Irenaeus says that the people in the four gospel were so strong that the heretics themselves are quoting and using the four gospels. Okay, we won't go deeper into that. Now, this Barnabas issue was actually quite long gone, as our Dr. Anguran says that because he went against the Quran and it's against the history of the known world. So that's why it was rejected. But suddenly it appeared in somewhere in some old documents found recently in the 2000 series, and then they bring up the map again. In the year 2000, it was found by smugglers, and I don't know how to read it, but somehow people who can see it now know that this is old copy of Barnabas. But now the question is that even the writers, the translators of this Lagdale and Reg, he translated the Gospel of Barnabas from Italian to English, and yet he says that this one is a false gospel. Yeah. And there are many reasons. The reasons why we Christians reject the Gospel of Barnabas today is because it contains historical anachronism, geographical and factual errors. So we won't go through every one of them. I've gone through some of them. I will give you the summary later. Okay. Sorry, I move faster. So we have, we have done this already. I don't think I want to go deeper than that. Let me move faster. Okay, I will come to this last part, which is more interesting. Oh, well. Problem. Okay. Just now I told you about this, what do you call, Gretum, this is a pen list by the bishop by the name of Galatia in the 5th century. And he banned a list of books. They accepted, of course, the existing 27 New Testament books, but this one they have rejected about quite a few books, altogether about 60 books, and just for your interest, Gospel of Barnabas is here. So the question is that whether this Barnabas is the same Barnabas as the 1st century or so. But this is rejected during the 6th century. So because of this, now we come to it. And according to history, they have preserved this particular quotation in Greek from when they from this book called Gospel of Barnabas by this name. And the word translated in English is Barnabas the apostle that is in evil contest, the victor is more wretched and departed from with more sin, more of the sin. So whatever the meaning of this, I am not so interested. But when I was doing research many years ago, I took this verse and read through the existing Italian, what they call the English translation, and I found that these what they call the findings are here. I have done a research. I just go for word and read through the whole Gospel of Barnabas and find that he who writes is actually Barnabas, and the name Barnabas appear here. And Barnabas, his apostle, the word the apostle was not there, and is also the apostle. So you can find that this list rejected by the Pope, Galatia, is not the same gospel that we know. See, this gospel is actually a 15th century. 15, as our Dr. Anguran says, that this definitely later, about 14th or 15th century, the research. And the interesting part is that the Quran, these are some of the books that like Muhammad in the Bible and this. And many years ago, I was given a book, Muhammad foretold in the early scriptures. So I use this to also to dig further. And there's contradiction here. The Quran says that Jesus is the Messiah, whereas Barnabas in the beginning says that Jesus is the Christ on two places in the first page 2. And then after that, the problem is that this Gospel of Barnabas do not know Greek. He only know Italian, I think so. So when he says that Jesus is the Christ, he did not know the word Christ, Christos, is in the Greek, means Jesus. And he, in the true gospel of Jesus, called Christ. And also he called him the Nazarene called Christ. But later on, he realized his mistake. In page 42, said Jesus suddenly confessed that I am not the Messiah. That means he understood the meaning of Christos by then. And then I'm not the Messiah. And then later on, he says that Muhammad is the blessed one, is a Messiah. Okay, I think those who know the Quran will know that Jesus in the Quran did prophesy the coming of another, according to the Quran, is another apostle whose name is Ahmad. Yeah. But if you, I'm not a Quran expert, but I just look at checking the dictionary and all this. According to commentaries, the tafsir that I know, they say that in this Dr. Muhammad Mushi Khan and also Hilary, he said he gave the explanation that what Ahmad is the one who praises Allah more than others, where Muhammad is the one who received praise. So the Quran here, Jesus was made to say that there's a coming of Ahmad, the one who give praise to Allah more, not the one who receive praise. The word Muhammad is not here. And the next thing is that we also notice that in this verse, this Ahmad is an extraordinary person. He's a miraculous worker because he is able to give al-bayinat, the clear evidence and supernatural things. But we know that from most Sunni scholars, and they say that I have read a lot of Muslim commentaries, and they say that Muhammad has one miracle, it's a miracle of the Quran, whereas 61:6 talk more than just one miracle. So another thing is that one of the problem that they the Ibn Ishaq, he misunderstood the word Greek, the word Parakletos. They think that it is what Parakletos is the same as Parakletos. One is praise one, the other one is advocate. Sorry, the spelling error here. And in this writing, they talk about one name by the word Muna Mehena. And they understood it in Syriac to be Greek, but actually in Syriac is Muhammad, but in Greek is actually Paraclete, which means the advocate. So this is so you can find that this meaning here is quite clear that you're talking about even Siratu Rasulullah says that the person appearing is Parakletos, not sorry, not Muhammad, but the Parakletos. So Muhammad was mentioned only 4 times, and there are people who says that according to Hadith, that Muhammad actually got five names. Muhammad, Ahmad, Mahdi, Al-Hashir, and Kip. So the thing is this second name, but my understanding of the second name is that is the name when God give a prophecy, he will be very accurate. And Muhammad is the name given to Muhammad when he's at birth, and he transacted business as Muhammad. He signed treaties as Muhammad. He 4 times mentioned as Muhammad in the Quran. And in the Kalima Shahadat, we talk about Muhammadun Rasulullah. Yeah. Then we also have Muhammad is worked as a merchant, as a prophet, as a ruler. And his name was given to his children, Fatima binti Muhammad, not the other way around. Okay. So this is how I understand. And we have here also that Jesus is the Christ in Matthew. And the Italian gospel, he says no. Okay. And just now our brother says that Quran says that Mary suffered childbirth pain, but Gospel of Barnabas say no. You know why? Because this Barnabas is part of those Gnostic gospel, and they call it the docetic view of Christ, in which Jesus and his mother like superhuman. They don't feel pain. Right? And at the birth of Jesus Christ, this is called the Proto-Evangelion of James. This is in the Apocryphal Gospels. And they say that when Jesus was born, Joseph saw everything stop. The sheep suddenly stopped walking, and children resting on water, drinking water, then suddenly stop also. So it's like sudden phrase. And the teaching of the Quran is very clear. Polygamy is allowed, but here Barnabas say no. And we have here is that, of course, Jesus, Son of God. I think you know something. And here, Gospel of Barnabas is very strong on this. When it comes to Matthew, Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was crucified. But in the Gospel of Barnabas, God acted wonderfully in such a way that Judas was changed in speech and in face to be like Jesus. And the soldiers took Judas and bound him, and they crucified him. So this is the understanding at that time. And this is one of the biggest, why a lot of people reject Gospel of Barnabas is because of this summary statement. First of all, what happened is that after Jesus was taken up to heaven according to the Gospel of Barnabas, uh, Jesus returned and told Barnabas to write down what has happened to Judas. And Barnabas replied, "All I will, if God's will, O Master, how it happened to Judas. Sorry, all it happened to Judas, I do not know, for I saw not all." And Jesus says that here are James, John, and Peter, who has seen all, and he will tell you. But in the story of the Gospel of Barnabas, when the soldiers went in to arrest Judas, all the 11, including Barnabas, John, and Peter, were all sleeping. Yeah, and again he mentioned that what happened is that the angels came and took Jesus out through the window, and all of them were sleeping. The next one is that they were again sleeping. When they wake up, they saw Judas, and Judas looked like Jesus, and his voice and speech all the same. And later on, Judas was crucified. Okay, so we have all the disciples who were sleeping, and if you are sleeping, how can you tell the truth? Again, the historical errors in the Gospel of Barnabas, that Jesus was not what do you call when King Herod died, Jesus was just born, and the emperor is not Tiberius, yeah, and they say it's Tiberius, okay. Even we have here Pontius Pilate also, not at the same time. The most interesting thing that I can see is that Nazareth is not a seaport. This is Capernaum in the Sea of Galilee. Yeah. So you can see from here that Jesus, they came to the Nazareth by ship. Jesus went to the Sea of Galilee and had embarked a ship, sailed to city of Nazareth. Nazareth is 15 miles up the hill. It's very far away, and you cannot sail from a sea to a hilly area. There's no port. And the thing is the words used, experience, this kind of things that we took for granted actually was only archaeologically they have checked some marine ship that sunk, and they in AD 300 then they start using this kind of barrel. And then in the Gospel of Barnabas, it was mentioned that the soldiers were rolling out wooden casks of wood containing wine. Yeah. And this author of Barnabas is unfamiliar with the Feast of the Tabernacle. He thought it is another festival, and this name was never mentioned. And they also found the pool of Siloam, and this one agree with the scripture. And they thought Nineveh is part of the Mediterranean Sea, but which is not true. Gospel of Barnabas wrote in such a way that Nineveh is nearby. Okay, so this is very interesting. Just now, our brother says about the Jubilee. Is Pope Boniface says he's the one. All the while from Leviticus, it is what they call Jubilee is only 50 years since the time of Moses. But when it comes to Pope Boniface, I'm going to change it to 100 years. And Gospel of Barnabas follow these 100 years. And after that, it was changed back. So in other words, we can pinpoint the Gospel of Barnabas was written somewhere after Port Benefice, yeah, in the 13th century, maybe 14th or 15th century, if you are right. And here I never read this book until this Gospel of Barnabas talk about the what you call the ninth heaven. So it is in Dante that I studied. They have the concept of seven. The Quran only say about seven, whereas Gospel of Barnabas say nine. And not only nine heaven, but they also talk about nine hell. That's a nine hell also. Okay, that's about all I have to say. And we have here just to let you know that the Christianity that we know, why we rejected the Gospel of Barnabas is because crucifixion to us is a historical evidence. And I have made research on all this and all the possible reasons that it's possible. And here I find that it's very interesting is that, sorry. I find that very interesting is that according to one hadith, he says that whoever explained the Quran according to his own opinion will occupy a place in hell. I think it's very frightening. And the next thing that I can say is that in chapter 4157, this is a famous chapter, the verse on the crucifixion. The Quran warns us that there are 5 reasons that you have to consider when you talk about the death of Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marcus. I think it's very interesting to see how this issue is discussed in both theological and also historical perspective. I think from all the audience, it is there will be many interesting questions and also answers. So please feel free for all audiences to pose a question or response. You can, I think you can do it in 2 ways. The first, you can raise your hand and just talk, and I will invite you to talk. And the second, maybe you can use the chat feature in this Zoom meeting to ask question. If you don't if you're not able to speak English, I think it's okay if you ask question or post respond using Bahasa Indonesia, and I will translate it perhaps in English. Thank you. So anyone? Any questions? From the audience?
Ya, saya mau tanya Pak, boleh kah? Maaf, saya
Oke, silahkan Pak Kevin.
saya mau bertanya kepada Pak Markus Chua, Mr. Marcus. Pertama yaitu adalah tadi saya sudah cek di chat dari mana Pak Mr. Chua mengambil referensi about range of gospel gospel writing, the canonical gospel. Jadi dari mana referensinya? Karena setahu saya beberapa buku yang saya baca dari kacamata saya yang awam ya, saya awam teologi ya, saya non sarjana teologi. Cuman saya suka membaca buku-buku. Memang itu masih ada perdebatan antara range-nya dari waktu ke waktu. Jadi mohon diinfokan bukunya apa. Kemudian untuk Prof. Ungaran, Rashid, saya ingin bertanya mengenai Gospel Barnabas. Kami kalau di Indonesia itu tidak bisa sembarangan ngobrol tentang agama orang lain tentunya. Dan bagaimana kita mewakili kekristenan untuk ngobrol tentang Gospel Barnabas, tapi dari sisi yang lembut lah, maksudnya apa ya, bisa diterima di kemajemukan di Indonesia ini. Sehingga kita tampil itu tidak langsung serta-merta, oh itu gospelnya salah, palsu gitu. Meskipun memang itu pendekatannya ada lagi seperti itu. Tapi saya mau pendekatan yang lain. Tapi menurut saya Prof. Ungaran mungkin bisa memberikan masukan terhadap saya seperti itu. Dan terhadap kami yang mau belajar. Terima kasih. Itu aja sih. Terima kasih.
Okay. Would you like to directly respond or waiting for other questions?
We
think
can
you
answer.
translate the first thing, yeah.
Oh, okay. For the first question is addressed to Mr. Marcos from Mas Kevin. He was asking about the reference of the writing of canonical gospel. Can you explain or mention some sources or reference for this
Okay.
canonical gospel?
I think it's a very long story. Maybe if he can give his WhatsApp number to me, or to, because your reference is quite a long story. I don't think everybody is interested. So if he can drop his email better, yeah, to me, and I'd be very happy to have a discussion. Yeah.
Okay. I will asking your email. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chua.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
For the second question is addressed to Dr. Ungaran. He is asking, yeah.
Okay.
Should I translate or no?
In my opinion, yeah, of course. Now talking about other someone's religion is quite sensitive in Indonesia, right? Sometimes I watch YouTube. There are new Muslims, there are new Christians, and they fight each other. They blame the previous religion. In my opinion, that is not a good way to discuss. I don't like that kind of discussion. That is not discussion. That is tend to debate. For the question that Brother Kevin asked to me, it is good if we have time to read the Gospel of Barnabas, and then also compare with the canonical Gospel like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And my suggestion, of course, read all the New Testament, so we can see the weaknesses of the Gospel of Barnabas, and also compare with Quran. Then we can see that the Gospel of Barnabas in opposition with the canonical Gospel and Quran. So actually, in my opinion, the Gospel of Barnabas is the quote unquote is the enemy of Christian and Islam. Quote unquote, okay?
Okay.
Because the Gospel of Barnabas opposes Quran. Like for example, as I mentioned, the opposes the messiahship of Isa or Jesus, and the concept of Nur Muhammad is there, and also the situation of Mary when she was giving birth of Isa, and of course, according to the canonical gospel, yeah, totally in opposition, almost totally in opposition, like Brother Marcus mentioned just now. Yeah, like Pilate. Jesus was born during when the Pilate was governor of the province of Judea, which in the canonic gospel and also in general history in general, Pilate was governor during the crucifixion of Jesus. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Prof. Thank you, Mr.
thank
Chu.
you.
Ya, terima kasih.
Okay, for the next, I will invite Brother Salim, who has raised. Yeah, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity that you have given to me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon, and peace be upon you. So, I am Salim Fadak from Banjarmasin, and I would like to ask you as the panelists of this meeting, maybe to Mr. Marcos or Mr. Rashid. I have a question. As the common people, I have read about the article that is discussed about the Gospel of Barnabas. And we know in this meeting also that there are so many contradictions in that contains in the Gospel of Barnabas that is opposite with the Islam belief and Christian belief. And my question is, why Gospel of Barnabas is still mentioned as the Gospel or Injil or Bible? Whereas, in other hand, we know that Barnabas is so content of contradiction. But why it's still mentioned as the Gospel or Injil or Bible? Thank you.
Yeah,
Maybe
thank you
let
so
me
much.
start.
Okay,
I think I just explained to you that if you and I want to write a gospel now, it's also possible. So even I write rubbish inside there, and people want to print it, and it's okay. Like Da Vinci Code, recently the Da Vinci Code, he make a lot of money, by telling a story that it was already there, and the Gospel of Philip, if you study the Gospel of Philip, it's very interesting because they think that Mary Magdalene is the girlfriend of Jesus. And they say that there's a part of the Gospel of Philip says that Jesus kissed Mary on the lips. So wow, it is very sensational, very modernistic. So because of this, people like to speculate and write about things. It may not be true. It definitely, to us, of course, is not true. But to those people who like to believe anything, we can't stop them now. So that's why the important thing is to concentrate on the truth. If you believe in the Quran, you concentrate on the Quran, and then you use it as a measure against everything. Like for us, we will use the gospel as a measure for all four stories about Jesus. So this is how we approach it. Maybe what we should be talking about next time is that we should understand what is in the gospel, what is in the Quran. Then it's easier for the lay Christians or Muslims all over the world to understand that this one is trying to create a fraud, fraud or what, something like that. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I-
for- yes.
In my opinion, this is only my observation, okay? It seems that the Gospel of Barnabas was written by Fra Moreno himself, because the monk Fra Moreno later on converted to Islam, and to be accepted by Muslims, then Fra Moreno wrote the Gospel, supported the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad, and then even messiahship of Prophet Muhammad, and rejected the messiahship of Isa alaihi salam. Okay, like as I mentioned earlier, now many new Muslims talk about Bible, that Bible is corrupted. Bible, so many think in the Bible is not in line with theology of Judaism, and I watched recently YouTube. Someone confesses mu'alaf, but he was a pastor, but then his friend said, he's not pastor, he never studied in Leiden in Israel. I think Fra Moreno at the time also was like this kind of people, to be accepted by new community. Then he develops a new theology, using some parts from the Bible, some parts from Quran, but he forgot that maybe he couldn't speak Arabic well, he couldn't speak Greek well, so he messed up everything. Then the Gospel of Barnabas becomes enemy of Islam and Christian. That's my opinion, only to my observation.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dr. Ungaran. Is there any other question or response from the audience? Okay. Mas Erham, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. I am Erham. I'm a Muslim. I have a question to Pak Markus. What is the main consideration of a gospel to be classified as apocryphal? And if the decision is final, I mean, is there is possibility in the future that the now rejected gospel will be accepted, or vice versa? Is it clear?
So the question is, if I get it correctly, how
Okay.
can I know whether the gospel that we have is canonical? It means reliable, okay? Yeah. And whether other gospel which are rejected now can be put back into the original gospel. Huh? Is that the question? I think
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yeah. Let me try and explain explain. Number one, the Christian faith is a historical faith. We do not add or subtract what has happened earlier. For example, you notice that the 4 Gospels that we talk about, according to us, is all happening in the 1st century. Gospel of John is the latest, the AD 90 or somewhere around there. And all happened during the 1st century. We are not talking about books that are written now and appear in 15th century or what. We're talking about the 1st century. So for us, even the early church, they are very sure about the 4 gospel. And if you got a chance, we can study the 4 gospels. I know there are different people who would like to look at it differently. But for me, I will take archaeology as to help us to understand the Bible well better, to support certain things. And for me, as I look at it, I take I will, in my proof of the Gospels, I would like to use Luke, which is most historical. And then after that, I will use, when you talk about Luke, you talk about Mark, John, Mark, Peter, and all this. So we can prove a relationship within all the 4 Gospels. And I'm sorry today, I think it's a very good question, but I think those who want to contact me, we can have a separate discussion. I'll be very happy to help. Yeah. So apart from, for us, Christianity as again is a historical affair. Like for example, if you talk about the Quran, it must be in the 6th century or 7th century or that kind of thing. If you suddenly, sorry, I'm not against Ahmadiyya. Suddenly another prophet come, Ghulam Ahmad or what, and then say that he is the promised one. I also have my problem. But I prefer that you keep to the historical religious culture, and then you use it. If suddenly Gospel of Philip, just because it's popular today, and then you put it into the canon, we know there is a false addition. It's impossible. So I hope you understand my, not that the gospel is because of some political thing that we talk about. We can discuss it further, but you will look at the history of it. You will find that there are a lot of, especially today, there are a lot of archaeological finds that are substantiated many small things in the Bible. So we can use even the boat use, the kind of boat the fishermen use in Galilee, they have discovered it also. So we can understand things better. Yeah. So I hope we can
Yeah, thank you, Pak Marcus.
look forward to more discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Mr. Marcos and Mr. Erham. Any other question? I think we still have how many minutes, Mas Anjo? I think we
We
still
have
have
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
There's
15
a
minutes or 30
question in
minutes.
the chat room.
The question, I think most of the participants will ask the slide, and yeah, from Brother Salim, but I just still wondering why Christian scholar then supposed to wipe out the title of gospel. I think it's the same as the question that you asked previously, right? Any other response?
Maybe Andres, can I ask you to help me disseminate my PowerPoint to
Yeah,
everybody?
yeah, okay. Yes,
So they can understand what I'm trying to say.
yes,
And if there's any more follow-up, we'll be very happy to.
yeah,
Sure,
okay,
sure.
sure.
Okay, any other response?
Oh ya, maaf saya mau bertanya lagi, boleh? Atau mau cari sesi yang lain dulu? Nggak apa-apa sih.
Oke, ya, tidak apa-apa Mas. Please,
Oh ya,
Brother Kevin.
oke. Nah, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia ya supaya nyaman, nanti baru diterjemahkan aja. Saya mau,
Oke.
saya itu memang ini Injil Barnabas ini pernah dibahas oleh salah satu sejarawan juga gereja yaitu Pak Bambang Nusena. Saya sudah baca bukunya. Dengan melalui buku beliau saya juga mengerti akan Injil Barnabas. Apakah benar di situ ditulis tentang masalah inkuisisi ya? Apakah benar inkuisisi itu terjadi waktu di daerah Spanyol, kalau tidak salah ya, Spanyol waktu itu? Untuk kita sama-sama tahu latar belakang dari penulisan Injil Barnabas ini, Injil tanda kutip Barnabas ini. Terima kasih. Benarkah seperti itu? Ada inkuisisi yang terjadi dalam sejarah? Ya itu Mas.
Okay, the question is about he was asking, is there any history about the Inquisition
Oh,
at the time that, you know, dating back to the writing of this gospel, so that
yeah.
it acts as the historical background of the formation or the writing of this gospel?
Mm. Maybe I'm not good at history, but I just share a little bit I know from my reading of Father Marino that sometimes some say he has a Spanish background. So the Spanish must be the Andalusias, where the what they call Inquisition, the Roman Catholics. They were very harsh to the Muslim and also to our own Christians also. Yeah. So those who do not agree 100% to their Catholic thinking, they will be considered witch, some of them, and they'll be burned alive. I think these what they call the miscarriages of justice does happen. Even in any religious society, there'll be people on the authority who abuse their power and they will do terrible things. We are not proud of the Inquisition. Yeah, it is a shame to every culture. Yeah, to especially the culture that we talk about, Inquisition. I believe this man, this one who wrote Gospel of Barnabas must be very angry with the Catholic Church. That's why the reaction, he don't care. You can see that he was not very honest with Christian material and also with Muslim material. He just use it whatever happened to attack the predominant Christianity at the time. So I feel that this is a reaction. It's a very bad reaction. towards maybe the Inquisition or some personal harm that Father Manero, they call him, has gone through. I'm not surprised. It's speculation, yeah.
Okay. Is there any other question or response? Okay, I think we have one response
Okay.
from the chat for both speakers. Are there any suggestion and recommendation for further studies regarding the Gospel of Barnabas in the context of interreligious harmony in Indonesia? I think Dr. Ungaran has just addressed this question. Maybe you can explain more for the audience, Dr. Ungaran.
You mean I repeat?
Yeah, I think for
Yeah,
further studies.
To discuss about the Gospel of Barnabas, as I mentioned earlier, we have to study more about the Gospel of Barnabas, read carefully, and then compare the Gospel of Barnabas with Quran and also canonic Gospel. So we can understand well the contents of the Gospel of Barnabas. Because in the Gospel of Barnabas, that's not only the story about Jesus, peace be upon him, but also other explanation, right? As I shared earlier, including the author mentioned, including the contribution of Muslim scholars in the West, okay? Contribution of what else? Yeah, there are many things. Okay, so just learn the Gospel of Barnabas. Then later on, we can understand. And then when we compare with other Gospels and also Quran, I believe finally someone who learns in depth of Gospel of Barnabas will say that the Gospel of Barnabas is nonsense.
I think I think we study the Quran and the Gospel better. The canonic, yeah. We concentrate on the genuine one, not the what they call the forgery, those forgery. No, there's so many, very tiring, yeah.
There's another question here. Trina.
I think that's the same one as Brother Salim has asked. Why do we mention it, the Gospel of Barnabas, as gospel? Because according to her, yeah, it is the writer that call it as the gospel. It is the author.
So sorry, the question was again. Repeat the question again.
Okay, why the Gospel of Barnabas is called or considered as gospel? Is it the author that mention it as the gospel intentionally?
Because as Ugana, this gospel has been published by the one Pakistani company in many years ago, and he project it as a true gospel. So that's why the discussion came about, because whether it so from Christian point of view, we don't dismiss everything straight away. If you say that the gospel of Barnabas is a true gospel, we will take a look at it, and then we will have our own opinion, and we will answer we make our reply systematically, factually, and doctrinally, and very clear what we stand. So we didn't say that we accept the gospel of Barnabas as the true gospel or false gospel. We know our position is a false gospel, but we do not in discussion like interfaith dialogue and understanding. We don't attack people straight away. We can listen to them, and then we will give our understanding and our explanation. It may turn out that we just found that the gospel of Barnabas is the enemy of Christianity and in Islam. That's our quote and unquote of my brother here. Yeah, I think it is.
Shalom.
Yes.
Yeah.
This question is more for our brother.
Okay, brother.
Yes, from me, Mr. Johnny.
Yeah,
Yes.
Johnny.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I never read the book of Barnabas. Sorry, I call it as a book because for me it's only a book. Based on the explanation from Dr. Marcus and Dr. Unggaran, that book is supposed rejected by Muslim scholar. But in Malay, some scholar, a Muslim scholar, they are still use the book of Barnabas to make the statement strong. Yes, that's why I have so many friends. They are still use the book of Barnabas to attack Christianity faith, but based on the Dr. Unggaran explanation, Muslims supposed to rejected that book because that book is not appropriate to explain about how the Muslim faith. So my question is, what is the purpose? Some Muslim scholar they still use the Injil Barnabas to explain Muslim faith or to make their statement strong to attack some Christianity faith. That's all. Thank you.
Can I answer before
Yes.
Brother Mark? Yeah. Christian and Muslim, in my opinion, should be brothers and sisters, right? But now it seems that Muslims and Christian have enmity each other. Only to prove that Christian theology is the true one in the Christian perspective, and Islamic theology is the true one for Muslims brothers. For Muslims who still use the Gospel of Barnabas as or consider the Gospel of Barnabas as the right or true gospel, because to prove the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad. But in my opinion, we don't need other books to confirm the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad, why do we need Tanakh, Torah, Jabur, Tanakh, Jewish Bible, and also a Christian Bible? Because we believe, Muslim believes in Quran, and Quran mentioned about the prophethood of Muhammad. That's enough. Why do we need other support to support the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad? This is, in my opinion, again, of course, most of Muslims will not agree with me. In my opinion, this is the one of the weaknesses of Muslims, to show the prophethood of Muhammad. We try to find other sources to support Quran. If we believe that Quran is from Allah, is from God, why do we need other books to support Islamic theology? Yeah, that's only my opinion. Of course, many Muslims will disagree with me, but we must have self-confidence as the follower of of God. For the Christian, we must have self-confidence that the Bible is not corrupted. For Muslims, we must have self-confidence that Quran is from God. We don't need anything else to prove Quran and also the Bible that they are from God. Yeah.
Maybe I think you also can send the PowerPoint to them, and then maybe they can study better lah. Just a discussion here may not get inside. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other response? We still have like 10 to 12 minutes for discussion. I think all the PowerPoints and also the material of discussion has been sent. Okay. Any other question?
I think enough, maybe, yeah. Enough for now. It's
Ah,
okay.
okay. Okay. Because of the limitation of place and also time, and there's no other question, I think that's all. I think as a moderator, I cannot conclude. I think everything has been explained and concluded. And hopefully this today's discussion can foster other interesting topics to discuss from the perspective of interreligious dialogue, from the perspective of interreligious studies, not only here in the local context, in the national context, but also worldwide. So as moderator, I think that's all. Thank you again for all the speaker here, Mr. Marcos, and also Mr. Ungaran, and all the audiences, Mas Anjo, especially from the Emmanuel Christian University, and all the audiences. I think that's all what we can have today. For me, I do apologize if you have made some mistake, and thank you so much, and see you in the next dialogue, in the next discussion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks so much. See
Thank
you.
you, Marcus.
Shalom.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid. Thank you, Mas Afifur. Thank you
Terima
all.
kasih, Mas Anjo.
Thank
Thank
you, both of
you,
you,
Pak Rashid, Pak Markus. Makasih, Pak
Terima kasih
Anjo.
semua. Terima
Terima kasih
kasih.
semua.
Thank you, Prof. Ngoran. Thank you.
See you
Okay.
next month ya.
Yeah.
Okay.